Welcome back. CIA Director Gina Haspel held a closed-door meeting with top senators today to brief them on the killing of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. And it doesn't sound like the meeting went well. Here, Lindsey Graham and Bob Corker, two Republicans. Again, Lindsey Graham, as much of an apologist for the president as you're going to find, both of them were in today's briefing.
Secretary Pompeo and Mattis are following the lead of the president. There's not a smoking gun, there's a smoking saw. You have to be willfully blind not to come to the conclusion that this was orchestrated and organized by people under the command of MBS, and that he was intricately involved in the demise of Mr. Khashoggi. Open source reports show that he had been focusing on Mr. Khashoggi for a very long time. It is zero chance, zero, that this happened in such an organized fashion without the Crown Prince. As to Pompeo and Mattis, I have great respect for them. I would imagine if they were Democratic, in a Democratic administration, I would be all over them for being in the pocket of Saudi Arabia. But since I have such respect for them, I'm going to assume that they're being good soldiers, and that when they look at the analysis, they're being technical in their statement, but they're not giving the assessment that I think the Senate will have. I would really question somebody's judgment if they couldn't figure this out. It is there to be figured out. Please let me finish. And I think the reason they don't draw the conclusion that he's complicit is because the administration doesn't want to go down that road, not because there's not evidence to suggest he's complicit.
I have zero question in my mind that the Crown Prince, MBS, ordered the killing, monitored the killing, knew exactly what was happening, planned it in advance. If he was in front of a jury, he would be convicted in 30 minutes. So far, it's unfortunate, but I think they feel like this is something that's coming past because the administration has not spoken to this in a way that it has spoken to it in a manner that really gives them immunity. And so what the message is to him and those around him is that you can go around killing journalists.
Again, two Republican senators were sitting in the meeting. Now contrast what you just heard to President Trump and how he responded to the CIA assessment after it came out.
I hate the crime. I hate what's done. I hate the cover-up. And I will tell you this, the Crown Prince hates it more than I do, and they have vehemently denied it. The CIA points it both ways. As I said, maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Now, add to this new reporting that's come in that makes it even clearer about what happened. Wall Street Journal saying classified CIA documents show that the Crown Prince sent at least 11 messages to his closest advisor on the day Khashoggi was killed. By the way, that advisor led the hit team that killed the journalist. All of this is on top of the audio tape, of the killing that the Turkish embassy forwarded to the CIA, I should mention. Neither Trump nor the National Security Advisor John Bolton have listened to it. I want to bring Andrew back in here, and so today we got at least the statement of the obvious, but at least there was some scintilla of moral courage to say stop insulting the international community's intelligence, let alone the American public.
And the intelligence community.
And the intelligence community, that's maybe just as important. But you counter that to what we saw at the G20, and I think in many ways it was startling. When they all got there, the president, he had infamously canceled his meeting that the Russians learned about on the flight over, given all of the Mueller probe, I think more so than what happened with the Saudis. But there you have it. You have Putin and MBS basically doing a bro hug.
They're going to get club jackets if they keep going.
Just think about the company, Andrew, that we are keeping in the world right now, and the message about moral clarity, about who we are as a country and what we do. And I'm not, please, people at home, naive enough to think that we haven't dealt with strongmen in the past when it suited American interests. But when our own intelligence agency says he did it, and we don't even have the courage to say, yes, we believe our intelligence, but we're going to do the following going forward. Come on.
The two takeaways from today and the reaction to the Haspel hearing on the Hill, the two takeaways that are most disconcerting for me is, one, it appears as though our government reverse engineered this outcome. We know what happened. I mean, the CIA knows. They have the smoking gun, or whatever way that Senator Graham described it. So we know what happened. And yet our political leadership, our president, doesn't like that as the outcome. So rather than dealing with the truth of this, even in a case that really doesn't impact him directly when we expect him to lie, but he's willing to lie or massage or otherwise fool with the truth to get the outcome that they want, which is to continue our relationship with Saudi Arabia and with Mohammed bin Salman. The other equally disconcerting part for me is Pompeo and Mattis, who are supposed to be some of the adults in the room here. Pompeo, our Secretary of State, James Mattis, who was an original gatekeeper for President Trump. He was going to be one of those guys who keeps everything running and keeps the president from doing anything foolish. Deliberately either lied or misled members of Congress to make it sound better or less clear what we got from the CIA than what it actually was, which is why they were so hopping mad that the CIA director wasn't in the meeting last week, knowing that they had been misled by these two key secretaries for the president,
who insisted that they never listened to the tape, as if that made sense.
It's like a 4-year-old sticking their fingers in the air going, la 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 la, I'm not listening to you. That's the official government response to the murder of an American resident and journalist by the Saudi government.
Pompeo was the CIA director until he shifted posts within the cabinet to now be Secretary of State.
All the garbage about no smoking gun, I mean, that's not how intelligence works. That's what the 8 senators who got the briefing today were told. And they were given every bit of indication as to what the CIA knew. That they came to that conclusion and are saying things. Richard Shelby, not exactly a liberal here, saying, confirmed what I thought all along, this all leads up to the Crown Prince. If it's that obvious after a couple of hours with the CIA director, why wasn't the administration willing to say this even to lawmakers in confidence? It gives you some idea of what's going on.
And by the way, it didn't have, if you wanted to still deal with the Saudis because of their obviously geopolitical value that they have to us in the Middle East, you still had the leverage to make sure that MBS wasn't going to be there when it was all said and done. Instead, as usual, the U.S. gives away its leverage, let alone its moral high ground, and capitulates for the almighty buck. All right, coming up next, ABC News political director Rick Klein. He joins us with the very latest on what could be a real looming shutdown in Trump's demands for money for the wall. The president says, I get my money or the government shuts down. The president's also going to be attending Bush's state funeral. What will the optics look for that?